Revival of natural law in the 20th century with emphasis on jurists who gave a new beginning. Introduction. The natural law theory, which connects law with justice, morality, and human dignity, lost importance in the 19th century due to the rise of legal positivism. Positivism focused only on state-made law and ignored moral values. However, in the 20th century, natural law was revived because strict positivism failed to prevent injustice, tyranny, and human rights violations, especially during the World Wars. This revival was led by several jurists who gave new meaning and direction to natural law. Reasons for revival of natural law. Inhuman laws during Nazi regime and world wars. Failure of law separated from morality. Growth of human rights and constitutionalism. Need for justice, fairness, and dignity. Jurists who gave a new beginning to natural law. Rudolf Stammler. Stammler rejected old metaphysical natural law and proposed natural law with a changing content. He believed that law should aim at social justice, but its content may change with time and society. According to him, law must be just, not merely valid. Contribution. Connected natural law with social justice and modern conditions. Rudolf Stammler was one of the leading jurists who gave a new beginning to natural law in the 20th century. He rejected the old idea that natural law is fixed and unchangeable. Instead, he introduced the concept of natural law with a changing content. According to Stammler, the form of law, justice, fairness, remains constant, but the content of law may change with time and social conditions. He believed that law should aim at social justice and regulate society in a fair manner. Thus, Stammler modernized natural law by linking it with social realities and justice. Keywords for exam. Changing content, social justice, modern natural law, Rudolf Stammler. Gustav Radbruch. Radbruch strongly criticized positivism after the Nazi atrocities. He stated that extremely unjust laws are not true laws. He introduced the Radbruch formula, which says, if statutory law is extremely unjust, it must give way to justice. Contribution. Re-established the importance of morality and justice over blind legality. Gustav Radbruch played a major role in the revival of natural law after World War II. He strongly criticized strict legal positivism, especially after witnessing the injustice caused by Nazi laws in Germany. According to Radbruch, law cannot be separated completely from justice and morality. He propounded the famous Radbruch formula, which states that an extremely unjust law is not a true law and must give way to justice. He believed that when statutory law conflicts seriously with justice, justice should prevail. Thus, Radbruch restored the importance of morality, justice, and human dignity in law and gave a new direction to natural law in the 20th century. Keywords for exam. Radbruch formula, unjust law, justice over legality, revival of natural law. LONL. Fuller. Fuller gave the theory of inner morality of law. He argued that law must satisfy certain moral principles like generality, clarity, consistency, prospectivity. According to him, a system that ignores these principles cannot be called law. Contribution. Linked law with procedural morality. LONL. Fuller contributed to the revival of natural law by linking law with morality in its procedure. He developed the theory of the inner morality of law. According to Fuller, a system cannot be called law unless it follows certain moral principles in making and applying laws. He listed 8 principles of legality, such as clarity, generality, consistency, and prospectivity. If these principles are ignored, law becomes unfair and ineffective. Fuller's theory gave a modern and practical foundation to natural law by showing that law must be moral in its process, even if its content changes. Keywords. Inner morality of law, legality, procedural morality, LON Fuller. John Finnis. Finnis presented modern natural law theory. He identified basic human goods such as life, knowledge, justice, religion. He believed law must promote these values to be valid. Contribution: gave a systematic and practical modern theory of natural law. John Finnis is a modern jurist who developed a new and systematic form of natural law theory in the 20th century. He explained his ideas in his famous book Natural Law and Natural Rights. Finnis argued that law should promote certain basic human goods. According to Finnis, these basic goods include life, knowledge, play, aesthetic experience, friendship, practical reason, and religion. A law is just and valid only when it helps in achieving these values. He believed that morality and law are closely connected. Thus, Finnis gave a modern, rational, and practical foundation to natural law, making it relevant to contemporary legal systems. Keywords: basic human goods, modern natural law, morality, John Finnis. Impact of revival. The revival of natural law in the 20th century had a strong impact on modern legal systems. Emphasis on justice and morality, law is no longer seen as only state-made rules. Justice, fairness, and morality again became important in judging the validity of law. Growth of human rights. The revival strengthened the idea of inherent human rights like life, liberty, dignity, and equality. These rights are now protected at national and international levels. Influence on constitutional law. Modern constitutions emphasize justice, liberty, equality, and dignity, reflecting natural law values. Courts interpret constitutions in a moral and humane manner. Judicial activism. Courts now strike down unjust and arbitrary laws. Judges consider fairness and reason, not only literal meaning. Limitation on state power. The revival ensured that state authority is not absolute. Even valid laws can be rejected if they are extremely unjust. Balance between law and morality. Modern jurisprudence now balances legal certainty with moral values, correcting the rigid approach of strict positivism. In short, impact includes strengthening of human rights, growth of constitutionalism, moral interpretation by courts, protection of human dignity and justice. Conclusion. The revival of natural law in the 20th century was a response to the failure of strict positivism. Jurists like Stamler, Radbruch, Fuller, and Finnis gave natural law a new and modern foundation, linking law with justice, morality, and human rights. Today, natural law continues to guide courts and constitutions, proving that law without morality cannot ensure justice. The revival of natural law restored the importance of justice, morality, and human dignity in law. It strengthened human rights, constitutionalism, and judicial protection, proving that law without morality cannot ensure true justice.